This is the Strategy Doctor podcast, and I'm your host, Mark Anthony Peterson, the Strategy Doctor. The title of today's episode is Facebook versus Clubhouse, the battle for live audio rooms. Before we get into the episode, I'd like you to hear a word from our sponsor.
Are you struggling to save money for your kids' college education? Do you wish you had the seed capital to launch a startup? If you answered yes, Listenable and Mark Anthony Peterson have a course for you, Simple Ways to Save and Build Wealth. Simple Ways to Save and Build Wealth is a 9-class course that you can listen to while driving or cutting the grass. The course is designed to help you reduce everyday expenses, find hidden money and build wealth using simple but effective methods. To hear the course, go to listenable.io and enter the course name. Use Teacher60 at checkout and you will save 60% on your first year of Listenable. That's only $2 per month to access hundreds of courses that can improve your emotional and financial outlook. Act by May 10, 2021, to secure this deal. Simple Ways to Save and Build Wealth from Listenable by Mark Anthony Peterson. It's never too late to secure your future.
Now let's get back to the podcast. On April 19th of 2021, I read an article from Salvador Rodriguez on CNBC.com entitled Mark Zuckerberg Announces Facebook Working on a Clubhouse Clone. And for those of you who don't know Clubhouse is a live audio room separated by topics that you can join and listen in and contribute to. They have become the darlings of Wall Street at an estimated value of about $3 billion, or at least that's what Twitter is willing to pay for the platform. And now Facebook wants in on that value. And you got to know they were going to go after it, because any time any other platform creates some special sauce that brings groups together, Facebook wants in on it because they have the largest community of users in the world. Over 1 billion people log into Facebook and give them content that they can monetize. But they also do something else with it. They learn a lot more about you based on the things that you like. And they sell that access to the advertisers who want to pinpoint their advertisements to the people who are most likely to buy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. So here's what Facebook wants to do, according to Mr. Rodriguez. They want to build a Clubhouse clone with a lot of other features. They want to build audio features that users can engage in real time to create conversations with others on Facebook within groups. Yeah, you know groups. Those things they've been advertising for the last 3 to 4 months, where you get together and either dance or play basketball or schedule all sorts of online and offline events in these specialized areas where people share common interests. They want to integrate audio into that part of Facebook. They also want to create some new features, one called sound bites. And sound bites are short audio clips that users can put into your feed and that you can listen to. It's kind of like what the iPhone does with Messenger. You can either text back a response, or you can just put an audio clip and send that back to the person you're communicating with, or in the group if you have a group text going on. Facebook wants to bring that to their platform, and they want to add one more feature to that. They want people to be able to monetize those audio clips. Sounds interesting. Third thing they want to do, they want to integrate podcasts into Facebook. As my wife told me, everybody has a podcast, including the Strategy Doctor, and some of these podcasts are dying to find the audience that likes their content. And Facebook's going to make that easy. And I'm going to explain why these new features, are going to blow Clubhouse out of the water. They're also going to integrate Spotify into Facebook, making it easier for musicians to market their work. You see a theme here? I see one too. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. But before I tell you where my thoughts are in this battle between Clubhouse and Facebook, and whether or not I even think Facebook should be going in this direction, I need to disclose that I am a Facebook investor. Yeah, I have some shares in the company, and I bought those about 5 years ago because I believed they had the biggest advantage over anyone else when it came to monetizing data. They know more about you than you know about yourself, and it can sell that access and that information aggregated across millions of people to advertisers so that they can specialize and customize advertisements to your likes. That's valuable stuff that hadn't existed in the world of marketing before Facebook showed up. As a matter of fact, I made a bet at my best friend's wedding which stock would do better by the anniversary of his marriage, IBM or Facebook. He bet me $1,000 that I'm yet to get that IBM would outperform Facebook because IBM had a significant lead in big data. I told him, big deal. Big data is not going to do nearly as much as what Facebook was going to do in micro-analyzing your likes and dislikes. Not only have I made more than $1,000 off the investment between the marriage date and the anniversary, I've made 2 to 3 times that. Great investment. So I had to get that off the table. Now let's talk about this Facebook Clubhouse competition. Who wins? Well, you can probably guess what I'm going to say. Facebook. Now, before I dig in, I'm not that enamored with audio chat. I'm old enough to remember a time when your local neighborhood telephone service, hardline service, had what we call party lines, where you could dial in 3 or 4 of you and you could chat together on the phone at the same time. It was all the rage. Most of the girls would call up a guy and it'd be 2 other girls on the other line, and they would see if he would tell them both the same thing. What do you think about Cindy? What do you think about Tina? Both Cindy and Tina would be on the line with Jill, and by the next morning, Bobby was in big trouble. So what's the secret sauce behind what Clubhouse is doing? It's not the topics. I don't think people are dialing into Clubhouse because they necessarily want to dialogue on these topics using voice. I think they're dialing in because of the celebrity halo that's been put around the platform. Elon Musk, Mark Anderson, other tech celebrities have been known to pop in randomly into other people's chats and sit in and just listen. And when that spread, more people wanted in on it. They wanted to rub elbows or earlobes with celebrities. But just like the party line chat, it came with its drawback. You had to have a little bit of mutsy to jump in on the conversation. Clubhouse is an extrovert's dream. If you're the person that shouts out the answer in 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, all the way up through high school, you'll love Clubhouse. If you're the person raising your hand, waiting to be called on, you're going to hate Clubhouse. Because people are going to talk over you. They're going to keep talking when you want to make a point. And at some point in the session, you're just going to bag out and move to a new group. And then eventually you're going to stop using Clubhouse. Facebook is a very different experience. Though you're sharing your personal content, there's still a barrier between you and those extroverts who want to dominate the conversation. And that's groups. Groups find people who have the common interest to want to cling together. And that's why I think Facebook has a better chance of making this a solution that has more staying power than what Clubhouse has. Now, here's some other advantages that Facebook has. Billions of people and a head start on analyzing their likes and dislikes so that they can pair up the groups better and monetize the audio content. Right? That's what it's all about, monetizing the audio content. And I can't do that if I don't know who wants to hear it. Clubhouse can't do that. They don't have that kind of audience or that sort of data to know that when a session is over with, there's more introverts that want to listen to the conversation, even if it's not real time, than there are extroverts who want to participate when it's live. Facebook has that advantage. That's why they're launching sound bites, because they know people that may not speak up would love to consume the audio content at a later date. You say, Mark, that's stupid. No, it's not. What do you think podcasts are? Other than Joe Rogan, how many of you listen to them live? You're listening to pre-recorded content just like this, And if you dig what I'm selling, you're in my group. So that's why I think Facebook has a chance to make this a powerful new component and push Clubhouse right out of the market. Kudos to Twitter for figuring that out and trying to make a run at Clubhouse. And I think they should try to close that deal. Now, I know they're integrating new functionality into their platform that integrates voice. Smart move. I actually sent that to them years back saying you should come up with audio channels to support your Twitter channels before they had channels. So listen to the strategy doctor, right? Here's some other good stuff I think they're doing. This sound bites thing, trust me, it's going to feed the underbelly of society. What do I mean by that? Porn. Porn. When you can share and pay for audio clips, the porn industry is going to pay attention. You may say, Mark, why is that important? Because porn has been a key driver in most new technology since the beginning of the technology movement in the world. Don't think I'm telling you the truth? Go look up VCRs and porn. Go look, you just look at the internet and porn. Look how it proliferated and drove the need for more bandwidth and everything else. And that's what this is going to do for Facebook. And Facebook doesn't shy away from dealing and dancing with groups that are on the fringe. You and I both know that. And that's why sound bites and paying for sound bites is going to make them a lot of money. But again, soundbite plays into the logic of what I just explained. Pre-recorded, they know there's more people who want to listen than talk. And so by monetizing clips that may help drive you to more content, Facebook got it right. Some smart folks working there. Next, they're integrating in podcast, again, to make it searchable, findable, and marketable. Everybody's not Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan built an empire before there were many podcasts available. So he got the first mover advantage. Everybody else has to find their audience. And if you want to pay to get to that audience, Facebook's going to be the broker selling you the picks and shovels to get to them. Love that. Love how that's going to sustain their business model moving out of the pandemic, because people went into the pandemic and became lovers of podcast content. And Facebook is now going to put a chokehold on the industry by giving them access to 1 billion people, or at least some portion of that billion that want to listen to your content. Again, smart way to monetize the data. Finally, integrating in Spotify, that may be the killer app when it comes to audio for this platform. Clubhouse should have introduced this at the same time as they launched the audio for musicians to create groups where they could play their music and have the participants rank and like the songs that they hear. That would have given them great content that they could have used to create an algorithm. Now, guys, sit back in your seats and listen to this story, because you're going to be banging your head the way I am when you hear the strategy that I presented to Pandora. A good friend of mine from B School, when I went to the Amos Tuck School of Business at the Big Green Dartmouth College, was the president and CEO of Pandora. So when he's there, I call up and I say, hey, buddy, I got a strategy for you that you should use to turn around Pandora. Because at this point, you're number 3 in the music streaming world, and that's the wrong spot to be in. But one thing you are a leader in is algorithm. You have more likes, dislikes of music than any other player, and you could monetize the algorithm to help artists determine their audience and the value of their beats. And that you could create a currency, a cryptocurrency, using your algorithm so that these artists could monetize their beats. And you could do that all in exchange for partial ownership of their song. Isn't that a cool strategy? That's why they call me the strategy doctor. I pitched that to him. He thought it was interesting, so he put me in contact with his head of music. We talked the scenario through, started to get traction with the strategy, and then my friend left the company, become a CEO of another major company. Now, think about this Spotify deal along with Facebook. they're going to produce the same sort of result that I was pitching to Pandora. Enough likes and dislikes of musical content that Facebook is now going to have the algorithm and be able to monetize that with all future artists in exchange for some ownership in the song. Why is that so important? For Pandora, it would have meant lower cost of content, right? The Netflix strategy was go make your own movies so that you don't have to pay as much for content to get a better mix of content purchased and owned so that you could distribute that to other platforms and make revenue at a higher margin, right? And Netflix has done a great job of making some great movies. So Pandora could have owned songs that were streamed on the other platforms and made money. Ain't that cool? So cool. Facebook may be entering the music business through this Spotify deal. And if Spotify had consulted the strategy doctor, they may have tried to cover their bases contractually if they were thinking about the value of the relationship they're about to go into with Facebook. So, Facebook, wow, glad I'm an investor because the future's looking great. Clubhouse, if you don't sell to Twitter now for $3 billion, in about 12 months, your company's going to be less worth than $1 billion. My best advice to you, ask for 4, take 3.5, and go live it up. Clubhouse is Battlestar Galactica, and Facebook definitely Star Trek Enterprise. Guys, TKO for Facebook, Clubhouse, you're on the way down. Before we wrap this podcast up, I'd like you to hear again from my sponsor.
Are you struggling to save money for your kids' college education? Do you wish you had the seed capital to launch a startup? If you answered yes, Listenable and Mark Anthony Peterson have a course for you, Simple Ways to Save and Build Wealth. Simple Ways to Save and Build Wealth is a 9-class course that you can listen to while driving or cutting the grass. The course is designed to help you reduce everyday expenses, find hidden money, and build wealth using simple but effective methods. To hear the course, go to listenable.io and enter the course name. Use Teacher60 at checkout and you will save 60% on your first year of Listenable. That's only $2 per month to access hundreds of courses that can improve your emotional and financial outlook. Act by May 10, 2021, to secure this deal. Simple Ways to Save and Build Wealth from Listenable by Mark Anthony Peterson. It's never too late to secure your future.
Thank you for listening to another edition of The Strategy Doctor. With me, your host, Mark Anthony Peterson. And if you like this episode, please give us a like. If you really liked it, go ahead and subscribe. And if you really, really liked it, you may like one of my other podcasts, Gorillapreneur, The Art of Waging Small Business Warfare. That's a podcast for business owners who see themselves as David taking on Goliath. If you're a maverick, that might be the podcast for you. Or Gigging, Everything in the Sharing Economy. If you want to hear leaders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, market makers, and market disruptors tell you the future of the gig sharing and platform economy, that's the podcast for you. And then finally, for those of you who are trying to get that corner office, there's Career Coaching X's and O's. I'll put links to all of those podcasts in the show notes. Again, this has been the Strategy Doctor Podcast with your host, Mark Anthony Peterson, founder and thought leader at Sierra Consulting. Till next time, guys, peace.